Hi folks, okay, we're back. So we just did a couple of videos based on edge laminating 2x4s, 2x4 redwood 2x4s to make a thick sign, and you can cut it one-sided or two-sided depending on how your material looks. Well, now we're going to do a different kind of lamination. This is one that I just did the other day, and here's a sign that I just finished up. In fact, I got to put a couple more coats of finish on it before I can ship it out. But this particular one was much like on our videos 43 and 45, where I used that panel board. So if you'll refer back to those videos 43 and 45, where I used the panel board. But what I was doing then was I was basically using the panel board material, and I was skinning the back of it with 1/2-inch plywood to give it some strength and to keep it from cupping. But this particular customer wanted this two-sided. So what I did in this instance, rather than just putting plywood on the back of it, I went ahead and got two pieces and I sandwiched them and put them back to back. So what we're going to do is show you exactly how I went about making this board by putting two panel boards back to back. So we'll set up and show you how we do that. Okay guys, so we have our two pieces of panel board. This is basically about 20 inches wide, about 24 long. This will make a nice two-sided board. I picked a board when I went down and picked it out. I picked one that was fairly straight, doesn't have too much cuppage or anything to it, but when we put them together, that'll take care of that anyway. Now, first thing I did was, after I cut them, is pick the best side. So this is definitely my best side. I marked it with a face there. This is my best side there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, because we're going to put them back to back. So this will be two good side. It'll be a two-sided sign, and we'll have two good sides to it. So now I'm going to open it up, and I know I've got both my insides here. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to pour a bunch of glue, and then we'll get it glued up. So again, glue is cheap, so don't sparse on the glue. You definitely want to get it to the edge here. And so what I'm doing is I'm going around. Now what I'll do is just kind of go back and forth this way. And this is pretty good glue. Again, I don't like it as well as the Gorilla Glue. Now you could, if you wanted to, and I've done this before, I use a combination. I can use the Gorilla Glue because it expands. I would use the Gorilla Glue on the edge, but because it's so pricey, then I could use the regular white or wood glue, yellow wood glue in the center, because that's where most of the glue is in the center. So we're just gonna, again, get plenty of glue in there. I'm gonna go both ways. Trying to be kind of quick about this so we don't drag out to a real long video. Now again, what I'm going to do, kind of like what I did on the last deal, is I want to make sure my glue all goes to the edge. Make sure my edges got glue clear to the, or my boards have glue clear to the edge. So I'm going to do this just to kind of help that process out. And again, obviously, like I say, have your board covered, or your table covered, with whatever you're going to cover it with, to make sure that you don't glue your table. You should be able to have plenty of glue here now. It's kind of a low spot right there. Okay, that's good for that. Now we're going to put these two halves together. Now what I do on this to keep this thing from migrating, to make sure it kind of stays in place so it stays fairly square. I'm just going to put a couple brads in the corners. All right. If I can get the gun to work there. That'll keep it fairly square. And again, you can always go back when I do this. I just want to keep that thing from twisting around too much. I didn't get it exactly perfect, but once it all sets up, then we'll be all right. So now what I'm going to do, just got a couple kind of junky 2x4s here. I'll put this up on 2x4s. And you got quite a bit of time to play here, guys. So I'm going to put one in the corners, in all 4 corners. We doing all right over there, Dad?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So I'll get the corners done first. And the reason I'm using these little blocks here is because if I clamp this down real tight, I don't want to get too many indentations in the actual face of the board itself, so that I have to sand those out or putty them up or sand them out. So I'll just use these little pieces that you saw me use in the last couple of videos. So this is what I call, again, it's me, this is what I call sandwich gluing, because it's more of the other, for obvious reasons. The other is edge gluing, and this one's sandwich gluing. Now what I'm going to do, I've got 10 clamps here. I'm going to put one in the center on the edge here, but I'm going to put more on the side here. And that's because if you've got cupping going on, it probably isn't going to happen much this way. It's going to be the other way. It's going to be on the edge, on the grain edge that way. So since I have enough clamps, I'm going to glue this. Put plenty here in case there's a little bit of cup to that board. This will eliminate that. Again, guys, I'm not an expert at gluing boards together. I'm kind of learning as I'm going, but this is what I've come up with so far. So many of you may have better ideas and be a lot better at this than I am, but I figured, well, for those of you that could use some little tips, I know I definitely needed some. So what I've got here is it's pretty much glued and clamped all the way around the edge. If I had a couple more of these clamps, I might put them in here, but I don't think that's really going to be an issue. Now, the only other thing that I do to make sure that it gets glued nice and tight in here is I just put a piece of dunnage down in there and put some weight on this. That's a 25-pound plate and a 25-pound dumbbell. So I'll put 50 pounds on that. That assures me with those 2x4s in there that we're going to have a pretty good weight on top of that board. And by, within a few hours by morning, that will probably be glued up to be a nice solid board. So that should be it. Now, once that is all dry, if, for instance, I didn't get quite enough glue to the edges, and I end up on these edges with some gaps in there, then I would just go back with good wood putty and putty those edges. And that may be the case, although it looks like it's a pretty good distribution right now. I don't think there's going to be any issues there. I could wipe up the rest of that glue, that excess glue, but I think I'm just going to leave it and then I'll sand it off once it's all dried up. So,
what'd you pay for that panel board, son?
This was a piece that was, again, I just cut it right in half. I think it was about 19 bucks, 18, 19 bucks down at Lowe's.
Okay.
And it's about 3/4 thick. No, it's a little less than that. So once this is all done, I think it's about 1 1/4 inches. It's 1 1/4 inches altogether. No, it's about 1.5 inches. So they were about 3/4 thick.
So you got about $18 in this sign
Right.
so far.
Right, right. And this this sign, actually, that one that I just showed, with shipping and everything, I got $390 for that sign.
$390.
$390. So
Okay.
not bad.
Not bad for $20 worth of wood and
maybe $1 worth of glue, maybe, you know. So yeah, it's not too bad. I think they'll be happy with the sign. I got to ship it out of here tomorrow.
Yeah, I know a lot of people will have that in their mind, and how much you paid for that, how much you get for a sign like that.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good to put that in the video.
Right. Yeah. The width. I think it was $350 for the sign and like $40 for shipping, or $360 and $30, something like that. But I think it was about $390 altogether. So I guess that's it, guys. Go check out our Facebook page and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get all these new ones. We got, by the way, the next video, I'm tired of being in front of the camera. I'm going to switch with Dad. He's doing the next video, and we got some pretty exciting stuff to share with you. Within the next couple days, we're hoping we'll get another video posted with kind of an exciting announcement.
Make that a few days.
Yeah. Dad says a few days, but since I'm not in front of the camera, it'll be tomorrow. Anyway.